Hi everyone, this is ZPJ. Welcome to my home studio. Today I'd like to talk about mastering, how to master, whether you should do it in the box or whether you should do it out of the box. Well, the answer is you can do it both ways. In my opinion, I have a lot of plugins. I'm using a few plugins now. And the plugins do have their usages and their purposes, and perhaps using them together with hardware, with outboard gear, is perhaps the best thing. You need to use plugins to get rid of background noise, for example. You could even use plugins to give your audio some color. Although plugins have their limitations, they're only able to do a percent, a certain percent, perhaps 1/3, 1/2 at the best, 3/4 of what outboard gear can provide you. And the thresholds are not nearly what the outboard gear can provide without distortion. They are a good place to start. Now you can get some really nice clear audio mixes with your plugins if you're working in the box. And there are a lot of advertised plugins that say this will give you vintage sound, that will give you vintage sound. And to a degree, yes, it's true, but there's nothing like outboard gear. So outboard gear is very special. What I like to use for mastering is the SSL Bus Plus with the NEV 1073 DPA mid-side, so sidechain engaged, and that gives you the analog flavor with the vintage coloration that the I believe it's the Carnhill transformers provide. This is something that will give life to your recordings. So a lot of people say, let's compare the music to what it would sound originally on stage, and the more the music sounds like we are on stage or by the stage, the better the sound is. And not really. Have you ever been in a recording room where you got the drums banging and the amps blaring? It's a nightmare. Your head is pounding, your ears are ringing afterwards. So that's not a comfortable sound to bring to your audience. So you want to shape it, you want to mold that sound. So while plugins can give you a realistic rendition of a recorded content in a sequence of tracks, mastered, of course, becomes a song, becomes a track, a mastered track. But if you don't mold the content, it's going to be very too realistic. And having content that is too realistic, again, you don't want to be in that recording session, because the bang and the amps are going to simply kill your ears, and that's not sustainable. So someone at home on their home stereos, they want to hear sustainable music that can be easily listened to, music that can make them feel good, that can create some warmth. And that's what vintage gear does. That's what outboard vintage gear does. That's what transformers do to the sound. They cut away that sharpness, they cut away that roughness, that original rawness of the music, to make it more presentable to an audience in a form that is digestible, not just sitting and listening to one song and then going out and saying, oh, my ears are ringing, but rather you want to listen to more than one song. You want to listen to a whole album. And that's the beauty of an album, because a lot of kids these days, they don't know what an album is. They have tracks, they listen to MP3s, they stream music, but they don't sit down. They don't put the needle on the record player, and they don't sit there enjoying the tune. They don't even have CDs anymore, most of them. And when they buy CDs, they don't buy CDs for the listening experience. They buy CDs because they want to have the additional material that recording companies provide, the little souvenirs, the extras. So you really want to make sure that the music is molded to a degree that the listeners can listen to it and absorb it and enjoy it for prolonged periods of time. So in my view, to have outboard gear is wonderful. Now I have 2 tracks that I recorded just recently, one in the box completely. I'll link that up for you right here, right now. And then a second one, which I used the Buzz Plus Nev side chain, 1073 mid-side side chain. And then it gives it the warmth. It cuts down the shrill, the corners, makes it less of a reality, but more of a listening pleasant experience. I'll link that for you right here, and you can compare the two for yourselves. And the differences aren't like in your face noticeable, but they are there. And if you give it critical listening, you can see what I mean. The vintage qualities of music as it was recorded in the past, because back then people played records and people played they wanted a prolonged listening experience that could only be done if the music is softened to a degree where that could be true. So without further ado, I'm going to ask you to please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That subscribe button is going to make a big difference for my channel. Thank you so much. ZPJ, over and out.